sponsor, Parati's Quality Meats, located in Cranford, New Jersey, serving customers all over New Jersey for the past 50 years. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Coach's Talk presented by the Shore Football Report. And I'm real excited to have today's guest, the Rumson Bulldogs head football coach, Coach Jerry Schulte. Coach, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, really excited to have yourself on here. What a great program, Coach. I've seen you guys up close, seen you guys from a distance, and very excited to have you on the show. A lot of winning tradition at Rumson, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, and this is your 40, no, correct me wrong, is this your 48th season as a coach?
Yes.
Awesome. And 21st as a head football coach. So you have a nice resume here that I love to hear about from all the stops that you've been out, and especially at Rumson, which you are now the current head coach. Coach, let me embarrass you a little bit, and that's my job to do that to all the coaches that come on here. But congratulations on your 100th win.
Thank you.
Was that on your last game that you got it?
Yeah. Last game last season.
Oh, that's special. I saw the kids made a big banner and all that stuff. And you know what? You're a legendary coach, but you all you coaches, when you get your 100th, you kind of like, but it's important to the program. It really is important to the program, and all the alumni that you've coached in the past, I'm sure, reached out to you.
Yeah, it's not one person. It's your players, it's your assistants. It's a nice honor, believe me, but it's everybody that's been in coaching knows it's not.
Yeah, and especially your coaches, they're real proud. It's just another reason to go out and party that night after a big win with that. But 100 win is a great accomplishment, and not a lot of people can survive coaching that long to get to 100 wins. So it's definitely a credit to you and all your coaches and players in the past. So, Coach, let me just run down some stuff. This is going to be your 6th season at Rumson. Now, in the 5 years you prior coached as a head coach, you have 3 division titles. You have 2 state championships in 2018 and 2016. Now, 2018, you won the Central Jersey Group 3, and then you played a group bowl game like that, which is Woodrow Wilson. So you beat Sayreville, and then you played a Woodrow Wilson. How did you like playing another
Somerville, not Sayreville.
Somerville, I'm sorry. How did you like playing another game after you won a state championship?
We loved it. Any chance we can get to get on the field, we'll take it.
Yeah, that was
we'll play those games.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we get back to doing that too, and eventually a state champ, overall group champion. But you played that at Rutgers, right?
That was a Giant
Stadium. So, wow. So not only did you win Central Jersey, you also won and beat the South Jersey champion.
Correct.
That's great. That's great. And hopefully, like I said, we get back to that and eventually do an overall championship there. 2016, you won a Central Jersey Group 3 championship there too. And before that, you were a loyal defensive coordinator for 10 years, where you won 4 state championships. And with your first year of coaching, you combined for 4 in a row, right? 4 state championships in a row.
I won my team won the 4th one. Yes.
Yeah, we
had won 3 in a row, and then we won the 4th.
Do you have enough fingers to put rings on?
Oh yeah, I still got a couple left.
Added
Never
to that,
get tired of that.
Geez, added to that, you had 7 division titles, which is wow. There's a lot of winning going on there, and I love hearing about it, because I what I hear about is the administration is so so good at supporting all the athletic programs. Do you notice Rumson being a little different in other places that you've been at?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, both communities, Rumson and Fairhaven, they're very sports oriented. They support everything. Rumson Fairhaven, it's a small Group 3 school. There's less than 1,000 students, and every sports team they put out there is a good team. They're good in everything. Administration is very supportive. And we have an outstanding weight room. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes.
We have a full-time strength and conditioning coach, Rob Orrock, who works with all the athletes.
Mm-hmm.
So Rumson and academics, you can't touch Rumson. I mean, they're one of the best academic schools in the state, and they're one of the best athletic schools in the state.
Yeah, I mean, basically, when you tell people we're winners on and off the field, I mean that's a prime example. Rumson. I haven't
Oh
seen
yeah,
your guys work out, but I've seen the guys come out of the weight room and they're jacked. So I trust that they are lifting over there. But I heard a
oh
lot.
yeah.
I heard a lot about your strength coach, and what he's done and elevated your football program. And I also heard something about nutritionist thing in your
That's
school.
him.
So that's him.
Oh yeah, he all the kids buy into. We don't. He puts it into the program. He tells the kids what to eat, and they
Wow.
buy into it. He's done a great job. I've said often, Rob Warwick is the best hire Rumson ever made for their athletic programs. He's done a tremendous job.
And the kids are buying in to eating healthy. That's what I heard. They're all
Yeah,
coaching each other up.
yep.
Wow. Nobody's eating those Doritos, huh?
Maybe one or two, but not too many. Not if Rob catches them.
Well, there definitely is whatever you guys are doing. It definitely is working because you guys are very productive on the football field. And that, coach, the thing I think is amazing with Rumson is you're a Group 3 school and you go two platoon for the most part. I don't know if you did it so much this year, but in the past,
We
you
are.
had and do you practice? I mean, I just love to hear that because I mean, I coached at a Group 2 school and we had 50, 60 kids maybe like that. I wouldn't know how to do that. That's your philosophy, and it seems to be working, right?
Oh, it started with Shane when I got there in '05. They were already doing it. We're fortunate. We get a lot of guys coming out. We have 105 on the varsity JV and another 50 freshmen, and everybody goes one way. Occasionally, we may take defensive lineman and put them in the backfield for an extra blocker or something like that.
Mm.
But for the most part, they just go one way, and our coaches just coach one thing.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
the offensive line
Yeah.
coach just coaches the offensive line. So
Wow.
we can get a lot done in an hour and a half to 2 hours, which a lot of schools can't do because they don't have the numbers. And we know we're fortunate. We know we're very lucky to have that, and we just hope it keeps going.
Coach, my question to you is: you don't do that in a freshman level? So they play probably both ways.
Right. Freshman level, they learn two positions, and then when they get to be a sophomore, um, you know, they usually figure out which side of the ball they want to be on. We have
Uh,
a couple sophomores now that we're not sure where they're going to be,
right.
but by junior senior year, they're locked into a position.
I mean, it's a great philosophy because you think about it, you're closer to the field as a player. So instead of being the fourth string receiver, you might be second string receiver because the other guys on the other side are defensive backs or linemen, whatever. So you get a lot. How many guys do you get on the football field during the course of an average game?
Varsity game, if you count special teams and
Yeah,
so on, we get close to 45, 50 a
on the
game
field.
on the field during the game. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, they're all invested. They have some. Wow, that's awesome that you can get that many kids in there and still be an elite football program. It says a lot about you guys and your staff and also the players. That's great. Love to hear that
So
stuff. So,
the staff, they're just excellent coaches.
well,
They know what
everybody would tell me in the past would be like, if you practice the kid for 2 hours on just one side, he will get better. He will get better.
right.
And yeah, but still, I mean, wow, that's. I mean, not too many schools do that, Coach. Not too many
Now
do that. But
we're very fortunate, and we have four of our coaches were former head coaches.
yeah, yeah, we'll talk about them
So
later. We'll talk
okay,
about all those guys later. Yep. So before Rumson, where you won all those championships, you were at Monmouth High School as an assistant for 5 years. Before
yep,
that, you were a head coach at Wall High School for 10 years.
yes,
Yep. And then prior to that, you were a D coordinator for 5 years there at Wall. And before that, you were at Mater Day as the head football coach. And that's a real tight fraternity of coaches. Everybody, we talked about this, the Coach
yep,
Sicardos and all that. You all seem to protect each other, and it's pretty unique. It's awesome. And then before being a head coach there, you were there for 5 years as the defensive coordinator. And before that is where it all started at Keensburg High School for 1 year. That's a nice little run, Coach. Right?
it's been fun.
You
Yeah,
ever you ever look back and say, "Wow, that was pretty fun."
uh, almost every day.
That's awesome. With all those stops, You touch so many lives, and so many lives have touched you too. So
Mhm.
here's what I want you to do, Coach, if you don't mind, is talk about your process. How did you become a head football coach? From the first day you started football to all those people there that are putting pads on for the first time, I want them to know that, hey, maybe one day they're going to be just like you and be a head coach and successful head coach somewhere in the short conference. And anybody that helped you, or motivated you to get to the next level. Let's hear your process.
I had played for Kingsburg, and when I graduated college, my head coach Bob Glisson was the AP, and I ran into him. I was lifeguarding. I ran into him, and he said, "Why don't you come and coach?" And I said, "Well, I hadn't really thought about it, but he's the one that got me interested in it." So I coached there for a year, and then I got a teaching job at Modern Day, and Mr. Conti Senior, George Conti
Yeah.
Senior, who had been in Metuchen, was the head coach, and just three of us. It was Mr. Conti, myself, and John Amabile. He had left. He was still teaching at Middletown, but he hadn't taken the wall job. So the three of us, so they both had a major influence. And Mr. Conti retired. They brought in another coach a couple of years, and when he left, I applied for it. I just always felt that it was something I wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason I left Modern Day it was financial. Catholic schools are notorious for not paying high salaries.
Mm-hmm.
And I had got married. We had our daughter, and we wanted to have more children and get a house, and that just not going to happen in Modern Day.
Mm-hmm.
So I applied for a position of wall that was open, and I got that, and then I off from there.
Wow, that is great. That is great. Coach John Amieville, when I first became a coach, he took me under his wings because I coached I was on a committee with the Governor Ball and got to be pretty good with him. And boy, oh boy, him with his video and his taking,
Yep.
his scouting because he was working with the Giants too at the time on the
Yes.
side. And what a great person to bounce things off of. Tell me one thing about him as a coach.
Um, John and I remained good friends until he passed. The one thing he taught me, all right, was how to break down film, how to scout. He was outstanding at it,
Hmm.
and he taught me what to look for, and and how to put all the data together, and so on and so forth. So, and I know people think he was a little nuts when he was on the field, but you know as well as I do, off the field, very generous,
He
very
was.
nice man.
He his intensity was so much different off the field than on the field.
Oh
I've
yeah,
I've coached. I mean, I seen him as the offensive coordinator in the Governor Ball with no headsets and everybody telling him what play to run, and him flipping out on these legendary coaches. I know what
mm-hmm.
I'm doing, and he's talking to legendary coaches on the side. He was
Yeah,
intense, like you wouldn't believe. And don't tell
funny
him how to
man.
run. Don't tell him how to run his waggle. That's what he would say.
No, he
What
was great to work with.
Oh, that's awesome. Coach, speeding up the whole process, now you became the head coach at Rumson and you're in a program that you won three state titles prior to it. Um, and you were very good to me. You were very good to me in the past, inviting me to your 7-on-7s. And I'm like, wow, it was nice. It was just us four schools. I really liked it, but I saw something special. I saw the coaches all together on the same page, and there was a lot of good stuff just from my program. Seeing you guys working out on there, did you do anything different at Rumson that you did at Wall and Matter Day?
Yeah, I learned. You learn. It's a learning process. I mean, when you first start coaching, I think most of us coach the way we were coached back in the
Mm-hmm.
1960s. No water, none of this.
Mm-hmm.
The coach was always cursing at you, yelling at you for something, even if you did it
Mm-hmm.
right. And times change, and if you're going to survive in this business, whether you like it or not, you need to change with it. And we have in Rumson, we're fortunate to have um, a lot of very intelligent young men playing for us, and I have intelligent coaches. So we don't have to do that. We take more of a business approach. Our guys are here for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and um, it's job done, and then we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
So It's certainly different. Over 48 years, there's going to be changes, and like I said, if you're going to stay doing this, you need to change with it.
So your coaching style changed a little bit, right? I guess that's normal.
Yeah, quite a bit. Yes, the kids that played for me at Modern Day my first couple of years, I wasn't too far removed from John Amabile, and now it's a different story.
All right, Coach, we're going to talk first. I'm going to take this off this mask. The COVID season last year, in your 48 years of coaching football, you never were prepared for what you had to do last year with the COVID. I don't want to hear nothing negative. Just tell me something positive that you learned with your football program last year during COVID.
I don't know if it was so much we learned, but it was reinforced. We were very fortunate. We were one of the few programs that did not get shut down at any time. And we had a lot of kids. We always do. And they all did the right thing. They took care of themselves. They took care of each other. So a lot of coaches, or I'm sorry, a lot of teams, have the mantra, we are family and stuff like that. And we say it a lot too. And these guys truly were. They actually took care of it. So we're very fortunate that way, and very impressed with the way that our players handled it.
Now, Coach, you being a longtime head football coach, technology. Technology, what is it something that you found difficult? Did you have somebody helping you out with the technology? Because do you
You
have
should have
trouble
my son
sometimes?
on for this.
What?
My son laughs at me all the time. I can't even turn my cell phone on. So I have my son and a couple of the coaches do most of the technology work. Um, yeah, I mean, like when I was a freshman coach at Gainsborough, you didn't even exchange films. Freshman coaches would play Saturday morning at 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go scout the next opponent. So you never got to see a varsity game. You went to the next opponent with a notebook and a pencil, and hopefully you got the plays right, and that was the extent of it.
Mm-hmm.
That is your scouting report. Now with Huddle, I mean, it's unbelievable what they come with technology. So I don't really delve into that. My coaches tell me to stay away from it because I'm probably going to screw something up. So take care of it.
Now I know Coach Cornelius in your OC, so you're telling me you didn't teach him how to do all those presentations with the
No.
Coach.
They teach me, and then I forget it the next day, so they don't bother anymore.
All right, Coach. On the left, I have Rumson High School's football schedule, and then on the right is the newly put together American Division. If you could walk us through your schedule on the left, and then we'll both talk about the American Division that just was formed.
Well, it's a quality schedule. I mean, since the short conference has gone to the format of, I guess, basically putting you into conferences based on what you've done. This is a formidable schedule. I mean, every school on this schedule is a top-notch football program. There's no question about it. And we're going to be beating the heck out of each other every weekend. But again, we've earned the right to play these teams, so we look forward to it.
Coach, that first game, you're playing in a showcase. It's a new thing. It's a Northeast showcase. They call it, I think, the Rumble on the Raritan. You're playing against a team that you potentially, and here's the thing, you potentially could play Rumson, right? Are these Central Jersey Group 3 too?
Yeah, you could see him 3 times.
You could play him 3 times. It's crazy with the pods and all that. So how did that game come about? Who picked who? Like who contacted who?
They, gentleman named John Jacobs.
Yes.
Big in the state. He basically just sent me an email and said that they were planning on doing this. Would we be interested? And I said yes. So originally, Wall was going to be our second game of the season, or second game of the season. So Tony and I, we're good friends. We decided to play it up at Rutgers in the first game, so we just moved it.
Whose home game was it?
I had no idea it even existed.
Whose home game was it supposed to be if you kept it during the season?
It was Wall's.
It was Wall's. Okay, so they gave it up to play at a showcase, which is fine. Coach, just walking right down here, I mean, you're playing, Donovan Catholic, and we'll talk about their division too. You got Donovan Catholic, you got Lacey, which is an Ocean County team, which I know I know you and Coach V played way back in the day, but you probably have not played them recently. You have Tom Driver North.
No, we played them at the Wall, but not at Rumson's never played Lacey as far as I know.
That's correct. Yeah. Colts Neck, and then RBC, which is, I mean, RBC is another non-conference game. Usually, non-conference games, Coach, between you and I, you want a little breathing room. Um, that's
Yeah,
not
well, there's a lot of tradition behind that. So,
good.
and our guys look forward to playing all these things.
Good.
So that we were fine with that.
Now, looking to the right. Now, Coach, through the years, I mean, I'm talking maybe it was 15 years, maybe plus. At one point, Rumson was playing Group One schools, and now you're playing in the what I call is the SEC. Everybody here is a playoff contender for the title. They really are. You got Colts Neck, Donovan Catholic, yourself, North Wall. Either they've won championships or they're on the verge of winning one throughout the last couple years. How do you like this division?
It's challenging, but again, I think where we should be. This is what we should be playing.
So you
I don't have a
love the
problem with
competition.
the schedule.
Yeah, you've always said you. I mean, you never complained about the competition you're playing. I mean, but from a Group Three school playing Group Fours and Group Fives, and or like Wool Two is one of the top teams in the state, like yourselves. You're playing a playoff game every week, right?
Yeah. Well, now our philosophy is if you want people to think you're one of the better teams around, you need to play a schedule like this.
Good,
You
good.
can't play an easy schedule and complain because you don't get respect.
Wow, that's a great attitude with that, man. I mean, when I was at Barnegat, I used to always look right away. Who's my non-conference? Who's this? And see, like I was great. I mean, you got it going there. I mean, you're playing the elite teams, and you're not phased by these top 10 polls and all that because your goals are a lot higher than the media's expectations of you in the top 10. Says a lot about yourself and the program and the kids who we'll talk about in a couple minutes, Coach.
We always say we just want to be 1-0 in December.
Right, Coach, let's hear your outstanding football assistant coaches at Rumson. If you can give us some names.
All right. Well, offensively, John Corneliuson is the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Joe Murphy is the offensive line coach. He's a graduate of Rumson. He played there. Chris Quinn is receivers coach. John Andel, former head coach at Middletown South, he's the running back coach. On defense, my son Jeremy Schulte is the defensive coordinator. Rich Mosca,
Oh,
former
really?
head coach,
Yeah.
high school and college,
Right.
as the defensive line coach. John Wagner, former head coach at Roselle Park in Point Beach, he coached secondary with Matt Walsh, who played at Middletown South and played at Monmouth University. We also have Mike Zadlock, who works for Pickers. Brandon Wall is one of our offensive coaches. He runs the TV offense. Kyle Marinelli, he's new this year, but he's going to be the heavy defensive coach. Freshman coaches, Jerry Gagliano has been there for years. He's won a ton of games. And an interesting note, you talked about Modern Day. He was a senior at Modern Day my first year. So I actually coached him.
Oh, wow. That's good.
And John Bellavance has been there for years. But we have a new freshman coach. Whose son's actually played for a few years ago, Jay Clark.
Coach, that's your freshman coaches?
The last three.
Yeah. Coach, I mean, looking at your staff, and you have four former head coaches, correct?
Correct.
That's incredible. Coach Andel, Coach Mosca, Coach Wagner, Corneliuson. Wow, that's a lot of experience of guys that were on the headsets. Right? How important is it to you as a head football coach to have guys like that on your staff?
It's invaluable. I mean, they have input, and we have a couple other guys on the staff that will be head coaches soon somewhere. Just to bounce ideas off of them, and if you put all of us together, we probably covered just about every situation you can find in football.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a pretty good resource. Our coaches.
That's great. And wow, it's got to still be different from them too, which probably gets them going coaching one side of the ball, right?
Yeah, they have a lot of fun. I'm the one that sometimes walks around with nothing to do. I've almost hired myself out of a position. I'm more like the CEO than I am the head coach.
Yeah.
Uh, I still coach the linebackers. That's my favorite time of practice. I get about 20 minutes to individually
Right.
coach the linebackers, and then my son takes them over. So,
Coach,
you know,
my question to you is, do you ever get any any ribbon if you're on one side of the ball more than the other side? Do the coaches say, "Hey, we're doing some good things here on the offense. You got to come on this side of the 50 now." Do they ever bust your
yeah,
chops?
well, I mean, deep down, I'm a defensive guy. So I have to catch myself every once in a while when we're scrimmaging ourselves from cheering too loud when a defensive guy makes it. I kind of stand off to the side so nobody can hear me.
Wow, that's great. And wow, it must be tough though for a new coach to come in. You're coaching offense, and the other side's doing defense to get to know all the kids on the other side because you definitely know
Yeah.
more the kids on the one side. So it's almost like you have two teams and you put them together, and then you play. Is it now when you mix your special teams? I'm sure you have both sides. You don't just if you're doing a defensive special team just for the defense, or do you do it that way?
Well, it depends. Usually for our punt team and our kickoff team, it's mostly defensive guys because they're
Wow.
used to tackling. Punt return
Yeah.
and kickoff return are mostly offensive guys. Mostly, not entirely, but mostly offensive guys because they're used to blocking.
So you can
And
do
we
a
do play starters. We will play our starters on special teams. It's a third of the game. Some coaches just throw
right.
that away, and we put a 20-minute specialty period in the middle of practice so the kids know it's important.
I mean, this is like a dream come true. I would have loved to have done something like this, Coach, to be able to have your practice, and you can actually practice shorter because the kids are playing one side of the ball. You don't need those
Correct.
3 hours that the maximum amount. You could get done in 2 hours, which you probably had no problem with this year during the COVID.
No, we go between an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on what we're doing and how it's going. I mean, sometimes it doesn't go all that smooth, so we have to go back and do something again. But for the most part, 90 minutes to 2 hours.
You're mirroring a college practice schedule. That's what you're basically doing.
It's close.
Right now, Coach, here's the fun part. All right. I'm going to ask you to talk about your Rumson football 2021 football team. But before you do that, just tell us a little bit what you run offensively, defensively, and then let's talk about the next guys that we're going to play good football for Rumson this year.
Okay, we're at multiple pro offense, and on defense, we're 43 for the most part. We'll morph into a 4-2-5 against some teams. Because, yeah, we're seeing a lot of spreads and RPOs and stuff. So we're primarily a 4-3.
Yeah. Now, Coach, let's hear about these returning players and maybe top newcomers, some names out there that's going to be shining this year on the football field.
Yeah, well, our strength is four of our five starting linemen are back from last year.
Wow.
They're all big. And we don't have a lot coming back. Okay, we lose some.
Mm-hmm.
And we have two of our three linebackers are back in defensive end. So, we got hit pretty hard by graduation. But again, the fact that, we look at ourselves more as a program than just a team. I mean, we have players who saw significant varsity action that were not starters, but they got in. Like I told you earlier, we get a lot of kids in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, they've seen it.
How about the old saying, tradition never graduates? I guess that's you got the next
I
guy
guess,
up.
there's a lot of sayings, but, our guys step up. It's, Rumson's not the only school that has graduation. Everybody does. And so we just, everybody says you rebuild, you reload. I don't really like those terms. I just, we just replace people.
Mm-hmm.
We know we know Johnny Volka's going to graduate, so
Yeah.
we get a guy ready to take the spot.
Right. Yep.
It's not a surprise, because these kids, they're like I said, they're very smart. Okay, very focused, very coachable. So we don't worry about graduation. It's
are
not
you
something.
are you ever tempted to say, you know what, if I only put those stud linebackers to offense, or the other? Do the coaches ever say, "Can I get him? Can I get him to coach?" Or you stick to your philosophy, say, "This is what we're doing," and stay one sided.
Well, they occasionally they'll ask, and sometimes we'll do it. Like I said earlier, um, like last year on the goal line, we went more for power eye. So we on Factor, who was a defensive tackle for us in
Mm-hmm.
the backfield. Uh, Sometimes we put a receiver in the secondary if you want to go with a nickel package or a prevent type thing. But
Right.
other than that, no, it's pretty much one way, and the coaches know that. You know, we've never really had second thoughts about it. We never said, well, we should have so and so there. Our job as coaches, one of our jobs as coaches, is to find the right player and put them in the right position. And we tell them, we don't care what you can't do. We want to know what you can do. If you can't do something, we're not going to ask you to do it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Because it just frustrates the kid and it annoys you. So, we tweak the offense and defense a little bit each year based on our talent, what we can and can't do.
Now, when you scrimmage coach, do you find it tough when you have, what do you have, like 70, 80 kids on varsity to get a lot of reps, or you're fine with, do you get that? Like, how do you,
Well,
with a
what
young
we
team?
do is we have what we're doing this year because we have so many kids. We have 2 varsity scrimmages, then we have just the JV scrimmage. Just our JV is going to scrimmage Middletown North JV.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to worry about getting
Yeah, well, that's
those
good.
younger kids into the varsity scrimmage. Because with 105 kids, it's how many reps can you get somebody in the
Mm-hmm.
scrimmage?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not complaining, believe me. I don't think we're trying to lose about it. But when you have that many kids, it does take a little bit of logistics to make it work.
Yeah, yeah, that's well, it's nice. It's a nice problem to have. I
It's
would
a
think,
great
right?
problem to have. I hope we keep having it.
That's awesome. And today, where kids are starting not to play football, your numbers seem to keep at a high rate, which says a lot about you guys, and your strength coach, which is doing all this
Yeah,
stuff. And it sounds like the guys in your program want to be around you guys 24/7 because you're doing the right stuff on and off the field, and that's important. And that really is,
yeah.
Coach. Coach, thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming. Coach, thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having us. This
This
was
was
great.
awesome. This was awesome. I'm gonna have this up probably tonight, and then I will
Okay.
send it out. It'll be all over social media, and everybody gets to see Rumson and all that. And we're wishing you the very best, Coach, this year. You and your staff, and of course your players. I'm gonna be around and hopefully catch a game or two, and you know, a lot of hopefully you guys have a safe and very productive season, and enjoy it. And don't worry about this stuff no more. I don't want to hear about that no more.
No,
So, all right,
me neither.
Coach.
Thanks, Rob. I
I
appreciate
appreciate
it.
everything you've done, and keep it going.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take
Coach.
care.